Let's read and review Peppa Pig, the Tooth Fairy. On the cover page, we have Peppa missing a tooth. Look at that. She also has a gold coin in her hand. Maybe she got that from the Tooth Fairy. She's in her pajamas with a heart in the center. And George here is brushing his teeth with a blue toothbrush. He's got his green dinosaur pajamas on. And up here we have the Tooth Fairy with Peppa's missing tooth. Look at that. Let's get started. Once upon a time, there was a clever little pig named Peppa. She was very proud of her teeth. You can see here she's brushing her teeth with her red toothbrush. Peppa and her brother George knew how to take care of their teeth. They brushed them every morning and every evening. Here we have George with his blue toothbrush. Ah, look at the rubber ducky in the background. Yellow rubber ducky. Let's turn the page. Peppa and George love playing dentist. Peppa would pretend to be the dentist. Look at her in her dentist outfit. It's white with a green cross in the middle. She also has a dentist hat. And George would be her assistant. George is using his toy dinosaur as the patient. Peppa also has some medicine in her hand. It looks like a pink bottle of medicine. What lovely clean teeth you have, Mr. Dinosaur, Peppa smiled. Grrr, said George. Let's turn the page. One day after playing their dentist game, Peppa and George were eating their dinner. Suddenly, something fell onto Peppa's plate. Whoa, look at that! Her tooth! Her tooth fell out of her mouth and onto her plate of spaghetti. Whoa, what's going on? Clatter, clatter. It made Peppa jump. What's that, she asked. Ho ho, it's the tooth, Daddy Pig laughed. But where is it from? Asked Peppa. Let's turn the page. Wow, Peppa looks so surprised that she lost her tooth. Why don't you look in the mirror? Why don't you look in the mirror? Said Mummy Pig. Peppa took a look right into the mirror. She had a big gap in her teeth. Oh no, Peppa cried. Do we need to go see Dr. Elephant? Ho ho ho. No, said Mummy. It's just a baby tooth. It's meant to fall out. That's right, baby teeth are meant to fall out and they grow back. Let's turn the page. A baby tooth? What's that? Peppa asked. A baby tooth is a tooth that falls out when you're young, explained Mummy Pig. A new one will grow in its place. Ah, so that's nice to know that Peppa's teeth will grow back. What should I do with my baby tooth? Asked Peppa. If you place it under your pillow, the Tooth Fairy will come, and she will take your tooth and leave you a shiny new coin, said Mummy Pig. Wow! So, if Peppa goes to bed, she puts the tooth under her pillow, a little Tooth Fairy is going to fly by and take the tooth and leave her with a coin. That sounds great. Let's turn the page. It looks like everyone's relaxing for the evening and watching TV. They're watching Mr. Potato. But Peppa was busy thinking about her tooth and the Tooth Fairy. When I grow up, I want to be a Tooth Fairy, said Peppa. Daddy Pig chuckled. Ho ho, what about you, George? Asked Daddy. George pointed at his dinosaur. Dinosaur, he growled. Huh, seems like George wants to grow up to be a dinosaur. That's funny. Ah, what's Mummy Pig doing? Over here she's reading a blue book. Wow, that's an interesting painting in the background. It looks like a scarf and a shoe. And we have a fish in the fishbowl that looks like a goldfish. Okay, let's turn the page. Come on, George, shouted Peppa. We don't want to miss the Tooth Fairy. Ah, they're hurrying upstairs. They both ran upstairs to get ready for bed. Oh wow, look at that painting. It is of a red bottle and a yellow pear. What are you doing, Peppa? Asked Daddy. Peppa was carefully brushing her baby tooth. I want it to be nice and clean for the Tooth Fairy, said Peppa. There's Peppa with her red toothbrush. She's brushing her little tooth. Wow, look at that. It's nice and clean. Let's turn the page. Peppa tucked the tooth under her pillow. Are you sure the Tooth Fairy will be able to find it, she asked. I promise, said Mummy. Just you wait and see. Good night, Peppa and George. Good night, Mummy. Good night, Daddy. Hee. Peppa's getting ready for bed. She's got her yellow blanket and she's tucking her tooth under her pillow. George is in bed with his green dinosaur blanket and dinosaur. Whoa, let's take a look at all the paintings on the wall. It looks like we have a dinosaur here. George must have drew that. He must have drew these pictures as well. They have dinosaurs too. Up here looks like Peppa drew these. That's a picture of the Tooth Fairy. And a picture of an elephant. Oh, what time is it? It is 8 o'clock. We can tell because the arrow points at the number 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's turn the page. Snore. Ooh, George looks like he's sleeping. I'm going to wait up all night for the Tooth Fairy, Peppa said. George, let's not go to sleep. George smiled and nodded, but he fell asleep. But Peppa waited and waited. She could hear something. Is that the Tooth Fairy? Peppa wondered. George, she whispered, did you hear that? Can you see the Tooth Fairy? She climbed down and looked at George, but he was fast asleep. It was George making the noise. Let's turn the page. I am much better at staying awake than George. Peppa sighed. She settled back into her bed. After a while, her eyes started to close. She quickly opened them again. I'm going to stay awake and see the Tooth Fairy, Peppa said to herself firmly. Snore, snore, but soon she was asleep. Look at that. Peppa is sound asleep with Teddy and George sound asleep with Dinosaur. What's that? Is that the Tooth Fairy? The Tooth Fairy is flying in from the window outside. Let's see what the Tooth Fairy is going to do. It was the Tooth Fairy. Hello, Peppa, she whispered. Would you like a coin in exchange for your tooth? The Tooth Fairy gently took Peppa's tooth from under her pillow and left a shiny coin. Look at that shiny coin. What a lovely and clean tooth, said the Tooth Fairy. Thank you very much. Looks like the Tooth Fairy is very happy that Peppa cleaned a tooth. Flutter, flutter. Look at that. The Tooth Fairy looks like Peppa and is sparkling with wings. Let's turn the page. The next morning, Peppa found a shiny coin under her pillow. Mummy, the Tooth Fairy did come after all, she shouted, jumping up and down. Oh, I wish I seen the Tooth Fairy, Peppa sighed. Next time I'm definitely going to stay awake all night. Look, we have Peppa with the yellow coin that the Tooth Fairy left. Daddy Pig is holding up George so that he can see the coin. And Peppa is very happy. That's the end of the book. Wow, what a great book. Thanks for joining. That is Peppa Pig the Tooth Fairy.